Hi everyone, so in this problem we're going to review some problems that are similar to what's on your Unit 1 test. So let's try this problem. We have 3 times 2x minus 2 equals negative 66. So we're going to start off by distributing. So we're going to distribute the 3. So you get 3 times 2x minus 3 times 2 equals negative 66. So the 3 times 2x will be 6x minus 3 times 2 is 6. And that equals negative 66. So we've distributed. We don't have like terms to combine on either side of the equation. So now we're going to add or subtract to isolate the variable. We're going to add 6 to both sides, and that's going to give us 6x equals negative 66 plus 6, which is negative 60. Now we're going to divide both sides by 6, and then on the left side we have x equals negative 60 divided by 6, which is negative 10. So in this problem, let's try solving 5x plus 7 equals 67. We don't have anything to distribute. We don't have like terms, so we're going to start off by adding or subtracting. So instead of plus 7, we're going to subtract both sides by 7, and then we get 5x, negative 7 and plus 7 will cancel, and then we have 67 minus 7, which is 60. Now we're going to divide both sides by 5, so we have 5 and 5 that cancel, and that's x equals 60 divided by 5, which is 12. So let's try solving this problem. We have negative x plus 5 equals 25. There's nothing to distribute. We don't have like terms. So let's start off by subtracting 5 from both sides. So when we subtract 5 from both sides, on the left we have negative x, plus 5 and minus 5 cancel, and that equals 25 minus 5, which is 20. Well, here's the kind of tricky part. Negative x equals 20 looks like the variable is by itself, but it's actually not totally by itself. That is because there is this negative 1 in front of x that we actually have to divide from both sides to truly get x by itself. So we'll have x equals 20 divided by negative 1, which is negative 20. So in this problem, we have 6x plus 8 equals 100. We don't have anything to distribute. We don't have like terms. So now let's add 8 to both sides to start to isolate the variable. So when we do that, on the left we have 6x, minus 8 and plus 8 will cancel, and that equals 100 plus 8, which is 108. Now to get the variable by itself, we need to divide both sides by 6. So when we do that, on the left side, we have 6x divided by 6, and then we have 108 divided by 6. 6 and 6 will cancel, so we have x equals 108 divided by 6, which is 18. So this problem is a little bit longer, so we're going to go through our problem solving steps. We're going to start off by distributing. So on the left side, I know I'm distributing 5. Here on the right side, I don't have a number written in front of the parentheses. So to figure that out, remember that is one of those situations where we have a subtraction and then we have a distribution. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite that subtraction as adding a negative. So when I add a negative, that's negative 3 minus x. The number that's implied there is actually a negative 1. So that's really what I'm going to be distributing here. So on the left side, I'm going to be distributing 5, and on the right side, I'm going to be distributing negative 1. So we have 5 times x minus 5 times 4 plus 7 equals 10 plus negative 1 times 3. Bring down that subtraction, and then we have negative 1 times x. 5 times x is 5x. Minus 5 times 4 is 20, and then we have plus 7. That equals 10 plus negative 1 times 3 is negative 3, minus negative 1 times x is negative x. So now in this problem, I have a lot of double signs that I'm going to go ahead and combine. So I have a plus negative, and then I have a minus negative. So this is going to give me 5x minus 20 plus 7 equals 10 minus 3. Minus negative is going to become plus, so I have plus x. So I've done all of that just to distribute. Now I need to combine like terms that I have. So you can see here on the left I have negative 20 and plus 7. On the right I have 10 minus 3. So I'm going to go ahead and combine these terms. So I have 5x minus 20 plus 7 is going to be minus 13. And that equals 10 minus 3, which is 7 plus x. Now I'm going to work on moving all my variables to one side. So on the right side, I have a plus x, so I'm going to move it to the left by subtracting x from both sides. So when I do that, I have 5x minus x, which is 4x, minus 13 equals 7. Now I need to add or subtract to isolate the variable. So the opposite of minus 13 will be plus 13. So I have 4x, minus 13 and plus 13 cancel, and then I have 7 plus 13, which is 20. So I have 4x equals 20. Now I need to multiply or divide, so I'm going to divide both sides by 4. So I get x equals 20 divided by 4, which is 5. So in this problem, I have a fraction, and that's what I'm going to be distributing when I'm working on simplifying this equation. So I distribute this 1/2 to everything that's within parentheses. So I have 1/2 times 24x minus 1/2 times 6 equals 4x plus 5. So when I do 1/2 times 24x, that 24 is over 1. The 2 and the 24 will reduce, so I have 12 here. On the right side, I'm going to put this 6 over 1, so I have this 2 and 6 that will reduce, leaving me with just 3. So this will become 12x minus 3 equals 4x plus 5. So I've distributed. I don't have any like terms to combine, but now I need to move all my variables to one side. On the right side, I have a 4x, so I'm going to do the opposite, and I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. So on the left side, I have 12x minus 4x, which is 8x, minus 3 equals 4x and minus 4x cancel, and that gives me 5. Now I need to add or subtract to isolate the variable, so instead of minus 3, I'm going to add 3 to both sides. So on the left side, that gives me 8x, minus 3 and plus 3 cancel, and that equals 5 plus 3, which is 8. Now I'm going to divide both sides by 8, which gives me x equals 1. So this problem, we have to solve for y. This is one of those literal equations. So remember, in literal equations, we're not trying to solve and find a number for the answer. We're actually trying to get the variable by itself. So this y right here is the variable we want to get by itself. Well, y is not by itself because it's being multiplied by -6, and then it's being added to 5x. So we're going to have to do these steps in reverse order in order to get the variable by itself. So I'm going to start off by subtracting 5x from both sides. So when I do that, on the left, 5x and minus 5x will cancel. So I have -6y equals -5x plus 7. Now to get y by itself, I need to divide everything by -6. So when I divide by -6, on the left side, I'm left with just y. I have -5 over -6, which will reduce to 5 over 6 because a negative over a negative is a positive. So we have x, and then 7 over -6 will be minus 7 over 6. And that is now this equation solved for y. So this problem is another literal equation. The variable that we want to isolate in this one is a. So a is not by itself because it's being multiplied by 6 and it's being added to 6b. So I'm going to do those operations in reverse in order to get a by itself. So I'm going to start off by subtracting 6b. And then on the left, that gives me m minus 6b equals 6a. So now to get a by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 6. And so that's going to give me m minus 6b over 6 equals a. Because on the right side, the 6 and 6 will cancel. And so that is my answer. So this problem wants us to find the solution set for -20 is less than or equal to 4 minus 8x. So we're going to start off by subtracting 4 from both sides. So we get -24 is less than or equal to 4 and minus 4 cancel, and we have -8x. Now we need to divide both sides by -8 to get the variable by itself. So -24 divided by -8 is 3. But we divided by a negative, so we need to flip the inequality sign, and then -8 and -8 will cancel. So if we read this inequality, it's 3 is greater than or equal to x, but if we read it in a reverse, notice it's going to be x less than or equal to 3. So that is how we can rewrite this inequality, if you want to write it with the x on the left. So let's try solving this problem. We're going to find the solution set for 4 times 2 minus x is less than -6x minus 10. So we're going to start off by distributing. So we have 4 times 2 minus 4 times x is less than negative 6x minus 10. So that gives me 8 minus 4x is less than negative 6x minus 10. So I've distributed. I don't have like terms to combine, but I'm going to start off by moving all my variables to one side. So this minus 6x, I'm going to do the opposite, and I'm going to add 6x to both sides. So on the left, I have 8 minus 4 plus 6 is going to be plus 2x is less than minus 6x and plus 6x will cancel, and then we have negative 10. Now to get x by itself, I'm going to start off by subtracting 8 from both sides. So on the left, 8 and minus 8 will cancel. We have 2x is less than negative 10 minus 8, which is negative 18. Now we're going to divide both sides by 2, so we have x is less than negative 9. So let's try this problem. Let's find the solution to negative 3 times 6 plus 5x is less than or equal to 72. I'm going to start off by distributing, so we have negative 3 times 6 plus negative 3 times 5x is less than or equal to 72. Negative 3 times 6 is negative 18, plus negative 3 times 5x is negative 15x, less than or equal to 72. So we have negative 8, that plus negative I'm going to combine to a subtraction, and that's less than or equal to 72. Now I'm going to isolate the variable by first adding 18 to both sides. So I get negative 15x is less than or equal to 80. Now to get x by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by negative 15. And when I do that, I have x, and then I'm going to flip this inequality sign. So I have x is greater than or equal to negative 6.